Hello everyone. In this lecture, I'll be talking about herpes virus infections, about its pathophysiology and clinical features. The term herpes is derived from the Greek, which means to creep or crawl. It is in reference to the spreading nature of the herpetic skin lesions. All herpes virus contain DNA nucleus and can remain latent in the host neural cells. This is an important characteristic of herpes virus, that it can remain latent in the neural cells and thereby evading the host immune response. What is the structure of herpes virus? It contains an internal core containing viral genome, which is nothing but linear double-stranded DNA. It may come as a multiple choice question. What is the structure of DNA of herpes virus? It is linear double-stranded DNA. Then it has an icosahedral nucleocapsid. Icosahedral nucleocapsid means it's a polyhedron or a three-dimensional shape with 20 flat polygonal faces. Then the tegument, which is a hard covering, and an outer lipid envelope containing viral glycoproteins on its surface, which are derived from the host cellular membranes. So far, 80 known herpes viruses are there, and among them, 8 are known to cause infections to humans. So they are herpes simplex virus 1, which causes herpetic stomatitis or labialis; herpes simplex virus 2 causes anogenital herpes; varicella zoster virus, which causes chickenpox or herpes zoster; cytomegalovirus causes glandular fever; Epstein-Barr virus causes infectious mononucleosis; human herpes virus 6 and 7 causes rashes; and human herpes virus 8 causes Kaposi sarcoma. Herpes simplex virus 1 causes majority of the oral and pharyngeal infections and meningoencephalitis and dermatitis above the waist, whereas HSV2 causes genital infections. And humans are the only natural reservoir of HSV infection, and spread occurs by direct intimate contact with the lesions or secretions from asymptomatic carrier. Either by direct contact with the lesions or contact with the secretions from an asymptomatic carrier, HSV can spread. How HSV enters the cell? HSV virions bind with the glycoprotein present on the host cell membrane. Then, either by fusing with the host cell membrane or by a process of endocytosis, they enter the host cell. So, HSV binds with the glycoprotein receptor on the host cell membrane, then it fuses with the host cell membrane, or by the process of endocytosis, it enters the host cell. Once the virus enters the cell, there is uncoating of viral DNA. DNA gets incorporated into the host genome, it undergoes multiplication and then released into the body. The replication of the herpes virus results in cell lysis and eventual destruction of the mucosal tissue. Latency is an important property of herpes virus, and it occurs when the virus is transported from the mucosal or cutaneous nerve endings by neurons to the ganglia, where the HSV viral genome remains present in a non-replicating state. So, when the epithelial cell is affected, the virus is transported through the free nerve endings into the nerve ganglia, and it remains latent in the ganglia in a non-replicating state. And when the body's immunity decreases, the virus gets activated and it travels again through the nerve and reaches the epithelial cell and causes recurrent infection. It can also remain in the cells other than neurons, such as epithelium. It's called as extraneuronal latency, and this is considered to play a role in recurrent lesions of the lips. Primary herpes simplex virus infections. It occurs in patients who do not have immunity resulting from previous contact with the virus. So on first contact with the virus, patients develop primary herpes simplex virus infection, and on contacting with the virus, the body develops antibodies. Whereas in case of newborns, if the mother has the antibody against the herpes simplex virus, that gets pleasantly transferred to the newborn, and they are protected from the infections for the first 6 months of life. After 6 months of age, the incidence of primary HSV1 infection increases, and the incidence reaches a peak between 2 to 3 years of age. So what are the clinical manifestations? As I've already mentioned, it's between the age of 6 months to 5 years, and the peak is 2 to 3 years of age. Incubation period is 5 to 7 days. What is incubation period? It is the period between the exposure to an infection and appearance of the first symptoms. So after the herpes virus enters the body, it takes about 5 to 7 days for the appearance of the first symptom. It may range from 2 to 12 days and it's called as incubation period. There will be generalized prodromal symptoms preceding the appearance of the lesion by 1 to 2 days in the form of fever, headache, malaise, nausea and vomiting. And there may be hyperemia of the oral and perioral mucosa. So after 1 to 2 days of prodromal symptoms, small vesicles appear on the keratinized oral mucosa. Herpes infection has a tendency to affect more commonly keratinized mucosa, although it may be seen in the non-keratinized mucosa also. And the most common locations are hard palate, attached gingiva and dorsum of the tongue. And non-keratinized mucosa may affect buccal and labial mucosa, ventral tongue and soft palate. So these vesicles are thin-walled and are surrounded by an inflammatory base. Because they are thin-walled, they break rapidly and form ulcers. The size is usually 1 to 5 mm, but they may join together and form larger ulcer with scallop borders and surrounded by erythema. Another important diagnostic criteria is the appearance of generalized acute marginal gingivitis. The entire gingiva is edematous and inflamed. There may be small gingival ulcers. Mouth is extremely painful and patient may have difficulty with eating. If they have pharyngitis, it may cause swallowing difficulties as well. The submandibular and cervical lymph nodes are characteristically enlarged and tender. The fever usually disappears within 3 to 4 days and the lesion begins healing in a week to 10 days, but the HSV continue to be present in the saliva for up to a month after the onset of the disease. So even though the lesions heal in 10 days, there will be HSV virions present in the saliva for up to a month after the onset of the disease. Herpetic whitlow. These are the infection of the fingers of the health professionals that may occur during the treatment of infected patients. It was mainly seen in the era when the gloves were not worn while examining the patients. So dentists may experience primary lesions of the finger, maybe in the form of small vesicles or ulcers, mainly from the contact with the lesions of the mouth or saliva of the patients who are asymptomatic carriers of HSV. The incidence is minimal if gloves are worn. Herpes gladiatorum is nothing but herpes infection of the skin which spread through the sport of wrestling. HSV is also considered to be an etiologic agent in erythema multiforme. It is known to trigger erythema multiforme and also has been recovered in the endoneurinal fluid of 77% of the patient with Bell's palsy. With this, we come to the end of the lecture on herpes simplex virus part 1. Please do subscribe to this channel and watch the next part of the video. Thank you.